When retired priest Neil Richardson moved to Essex, he found people kept coming up to him to say hello John, because his double already lived there. John Jemison, left, and Neil Richardson, right, look like twins but were in fact total strangers. They're total strangers, but they could pass for identical twins. Retired priest Neil Richardson, 69, moved to Braintree, Essex, 18 months ago, only to find he was constantly greeted with smiles, waves and the words "Hello John." What he didn't realize was he was the spitting image of John Jemison, 74, a former head teacher. When the doppelgangers finally bumped into each other, they found they'd been to the same college, had both been re-teachers, and had plenty more in common. Mr. Richardson, 69, said, "Complete strangers were coming up to me and saying hello." On one occasion, in the Quadrant Cafe, someone actually came up to my table and said, "You are John Jemison, aren't you?" The manager was quite sure I was John. A couple of weeks ago, I asked if I could have a word with him after he greeted me with the words, "Hello John." He wouldn't believe that I wasn't John. I had to show him my driving license, he continued. It made me very interested to meet this man, who I thought must be rather good-looking. The pair finally came face to face last week when they both boarded the same coach for a Friends of Braintree Museum visit to the Magna Carta exhibition at the British Library. Mr. Jemison said, "I didn't instantly notice our resemblance, but as I boarded the bus, Neil greeted me with 'Are you John Jemison?' I was distracted with the thought, 'Oh dear, it's someone else who wants me to do something.' My wife, however, did a double take and we began to look forward to the opportunity to meet at the end of our journey. As well as looking alike, the two men lived very similar lives. Both studied at the College of St. Mark and St. John in Chelsea in the 60s and both went on to become re-teachers. Mr. Jemison taught at Braintree's Alec Hunter and John Bunyan schools, before becoming head of Silverend Primary School, while Mr. Richardson became a priest. Both men married their sweethearts in the 60s soon after meeting them, and both still sing in choirs. When the pair had lunch, they even realized they had accounts with the same bank.